Gwen, yesterday you did your first triathlon since you raced the Island House in late October 2016.
Yep.
We traveled to New Zealand, and specifically you did a Continental Cup in Taupo.
Yep.
How was it?
Yeah. I think I raced to my current fitness level, which for me, the first race of a season is it doesn't always happen. I think even back in my triathlon days, the first race of the season, and especially in my running career, the first race of the season wasn't always up to where I think my fitness was. So yeah, I was happy with how it went.
Now you were nervous. So yesterday it was a lake swim. It was cold. It was a wetsuit. It was 100% a wetsuit because it was like 16.5 degrees Celsius. But there were I think 30 participants, and you were nervous for the swim. Walk us through the swim.
Yeah, I was most nervous, I'd say, for the swim and transitions. And the swim, it was a beach start, but it was weird. You only took like one step and there was a quick drop off. So you just took one step and dove in. And, I didn't have that awareness in the water that I remember learning back in my triathlon days. I couldn't really tell like where I was. It's always, if you've done triathlons, there's people swimming on top of you, just stuff that you need to get used to that I haven't done for 7 years. So yeah, it was just, I wasn't very happy with my swim. I think that was probably the one area of the race where I maybe underperformed based on where my training was at, but it wasn't horrible.
Yep. So I think I counted when you came out of the water, you were in 10th.
But there's only like 30 people?
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying is like, there were probably 2 or 3 that I would call off the front, and then you were at the tail end of what we'll call the front pack. Walk us through T1 and then how you had to start on the bike course.
Yeah, T1 wasn't great. And if USA Triathlon's watching, I'm going to improve that for my mixed team relays. I promise. It was I lined up last, and it was a very short run from the beach to where transition was. So I had like 5 meters, not even maybe, I don't know. It wasn't very long to like take my wetsuit off and get to transition. And I was wearing a wetsuit from back in my triathlon days, which I'm a little bit bigger right now, so I got a little stuck. It was just like stuff that I needed to work on, I guess. So transition, I think I had the slowest or one of the slowest T1s, and I got on the bike, and I was actually off the back of, there was kind of like 2 groups that had formed, this front group and then this second chase group, and I wasn't even in that second chase group, so I had to chase to get into that second chase group. And then I remember the first lap, I just felt really good on the bike. I felt strong, which was nice. And our second pack kind of started working a little bit, and once we could see the front pack, we caught pretty quickly, I'd say, after that.
And then tell us a little bit about the bike course. I think you and I agreed it was probably the most fun bike course that you've ever raced on, but tell the the viewers about it.
Yeah, I told you, Pat, I was like, this is the most fun. Like, I don't remember triathlon courses being this fun, and I think you said that's because they're not normally this awesome, but it's just a really flowy course, so a lot of fast corners that you could take at speed. It was just like undulating, so there was some hills, but they were all like downhill into uphill or cornering into an uphill, so you could kind of just like flow into them, and it was just it was a really enjoyable course. It was almost, I guess, similar to like maybe a crit course. I don't think there was any straight U-turns, so maybe that's what made it so flowy. There's just a lot of cornering, but yeah, it was a really fabulous bike course.
Okay, so that brings us to the run. Talk to us about the run.
Yeah, so then I had T2, got out on the run, and I'd say I performed in my running probably similar to what I've trained for. So I thought I could run faster, but I haven't really done any efforts. I mean, I did a VO, like a lactate test, and that was probably the longest I ran at a fast pace. I've been slowly building up my run mileage. I don't know, I'm happy, I guess, with the run. I was disappointed with the run when the race first ended. But now that I've had a day to think about it, I actually think like, no, that's just where I am in the run right now. So, yeah.
Cool. And I think, so reflecting on that, you finished, 3rd overall, you got a podium, which is cool. thinking about some places to grow, but you really tell us, technically when you really started training and how the protocols have changed with returning to run, post George.
Yeah, and I don't think we've really talked about like what I'm doing on YouTube, really, have we? Have we said? I mean,
Probably
I'm
not.
returning to triathlon, but I'm here in New Zealand for 2 races. This first race that I did, Taupo, I have another race this afternoon, the mixed team relay, which I'm so excited about. I'm on a composite team with some New Zealand athletes, but the first race that we really wanted to do or target was New Plymouth, and I didn't want that to be my first race, so we wanted a race before that. And I remember when we talked about coming out to New Zealand for these 40 days, I was just like, absolutely not. It's too much disturbance from the family. It was actually my neighbor, Nicole, who convinced me to come out for this long. She's like, oh, it's a great time. Like, Stanley's not in kindergarten yet. You guys can use it as a family vacation. And so, yeah, we decided to come out here. And I'm really happy that I did that race. The only downside when we decided to do it was kind of the timing. Just knowing that, I started training. You're not supposed to, technically the protocol now, postpartum, is you're not supposed to run until 12 weeks. I got clearance at 6 weeks, but it started with, like a 2-minute run, 5-minute walk. I started biking the earliest. I did like a 20-minute bike with like average less than 100 watts. I think at a little after 4 weeks postpartum. And, I started doing like my first continuous runs when, Pat, like the first of the year, maybe, if that, a little bit after.
Yep.
So, yeah, I had some swim, bike, run all in one day starting about 2 weeks ago. So I'm excited for more of that and to grow. And, the race yesterday I was very happy with, and the competitors were really tough, and it was fun.
Perfect. I think we'll just close and say, thank you to everybody that, 1, came and said hello to you, and then 2, I just want to put in a plug for everybody that came and said hello to me for the Pro Tri News podcast. So big shout out to everyone that listens to the pod.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.